Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Scream the TV series Season 1, Episode 1, The Pilot. So yeah, a while back after Scream 4 that came out in 2011, there was a Scream TV series. I forgot what year this came out. I will type it below in the picture when I start editing and everything. I will do a season rundown review of each season. Yeah, so this show is diverse. Some fans like it, some fans don't. It's not a terrible series. Um, but it's not exactly a awesome series at the same time. And so I don't know, it's like there are some good episodes, like some. If I do review other episodes, those are probably just like my favorite, which is not many. But it's not a terrible show, but it's not a great one either. It's just in the middle. The problem with this show, oh, by the way, I know it's not Halloween, but I have this stuff that I've been trying to like get out since Halloween, so yeah. Anyway, so the thing about this show is like it's a teen drama slash slasher show. Um that's it's about 10 episodes in the first season and about 13 in the second, and it's very, very, very slowly paced. It's your typical teen trauma like tropes and everything. And they spend more time on that than they actually do like the murders and the slashing. However, this show is better than I Know What You Did Last Summer TV series. This show feels more like Pretty Little Liars. And in fact, they make a reference to that in this show. There are some cool elements in this show, like with certain characters, like Noah. Noah's a very cool character. He's a step up from Randy because he's not over the top silly, but he's still nerdy, but more nerdy and everything. I like Emma. She's cool. Um, there's some other little things here and there I do like, but other than that, it's basically just a teen drama. This could have been on the CW, but it was on MTV. And so, and when you hear what happens in the first episode and watch the first episode, you just kind of like, that's it. That's not how you start off a slasher TV show. It needs to be more bloody gore than that, you know? But I digress. So, it then cuts to a night scene with a girl sitting in the car with a guy. This is Nina, played by Bella Thorne. Now, Nina is our Casey Becker character, our Drew Barrymore character, mainly because she's really the only famous person at that time in this show. And so, I mean, yeah, Bella Thorne is famous for Disney Channel stuff, and she left Disney Channel and became kind of like the new Miley Cyrus. But I don't know, it's just like she's famous, but I don't consider her as famous as Drew Barrymore. So they could have went with somebody else. But Bella's acting is pretty good in this episode. Um, so yeah, like I haven't seen her much. I saw her in Wizards of Waverly Place, and then I saw her in that show she had on Freeform that got like canceled after one season, and that's about it. And so, like, She's there. She says goodbye to her boyfriend. She goes to her house. Her house is a mansion, and everything in there is lavish. Like, I'm like, my God, like this is supposed to be like a small little, like, almost hick town. So how do you get like a rich family with a mansion and this gorgeous, beautiful house and everything? And 'cause it just kind of takes away from what Casey Becker and them was kind of like. Casey Becker and them was kind of like middle class. They had a nice house and everything, but it was out like in farmland and stuff. But yeah. So basically, the only reason why she probably got cast in this role is because she was willing to walk around in a bathing or a bikini the entire time, a very short, revealing bikini, and show her butt cheeks about 6 times in this one shot. The camera is focused on her butt cheeks. This was before the Me Too era, so if this would have happened now, we would have never seen this, and chances are it'll probably be a guy, and you'll be seeing man booty somewhere and stuff. Because that's really all you see on all these streaming shows and stuff is man butt, and I'm tired of seeing man butt. So she's walking around the house. She has a dog. Her house is electronically operated. She can operate everything from just talking to her cell phone, and then she gets text from Ghostface. Now, there's a new Ghostface in this series. we get introduced to Emma. She's our main protagonist, our final girl. She's talking to her mom. She heads off to school. Not much is about her. She has a boyfriend who's very jerkish. While at school, the girl who got videotaped kissing, making up the other girl, Aubrey, she's walking through the halls and she's getting the stares, the look downs because she made out with a girl and everything. Her friend Noah tries to like support and comfort her and stuff. He had no idea she was a lesbian and now he found out, but he's totally supportive and everything. Now, one strange thing about Aubrey in the first season is she's always taking a video camera with her everywhere, recording stuff. I forget why. I'm gonna rewatch the series, but I remember that was always a strange thing that she did. While at school, Emma is talking about like to her boyfriend and her group of friends. It's kind of like a version of what the first movie was like when all the kids were sitting around. But when they was all sitting around, they were talking about the murder of Casey Becker and their love for horror movies. Here, not so much. Here, they're just talking about Aubrey. And Emma tells them, you know, she used to be Aubrey's friend back in the day, but then they stopped. But then it's revealed that Emma's boyfriend and his best friend are the ones who like, well, Emma's the one who videotaped the whole thing. So then she gave it to like her boyfriend, and then no, she gave it to Jake. That's not her boyfriend. Jake is just like this douchebag. Jake is actually Brooke's boyfriend. And so like he sent it to like Emma's boyfriend and stuff. And so like that's how it got passed around, and then it got sent to like, you know, the whole school. Now Will is Emma's boyfriend. He's a little bit of a douchebag jerk as well. And so one problem with this show is there are way too many characters on this show. But Emma feels bad, you know, because she didn't want it to go that far. She just wanted to show the guys like, hey, look, what's her name's making up with somebody. She wasn't expecting that to get like on the internet, you know. So then we get in a classroom scene, and it's like Noah, and it is Riley. Riley will soon become his love interest. Riley is played by the girl who was Margaret, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, the TV series, and Alex in Light as a Feather. One of my favorite actresses, but she doesn't get much to do in this TV show. She basically starts to become the love interest of Noah, the nerdy, geeky one, the Randy character, which is weird because the nerd and the geek isn't supposed to get the girl, but they reversed this for the show. And she's a hot girl. For some reason, she's interested in Noah. Noah is very strange. Noah loves serial killers. Not so much horror movies, but serial killers. He says it's his jam and everything. And of course, this all is going to start changing once there's a real serial killer out, and when some of his people he likes start getting offed. I've mentioned that before and stuff in another video about how they mistreat people of color on their show. They're just there to be love interests and like stuff, and you know, something else. Anyway, so the classroom scene is very interesting because it's a rehash of Scream 2 when they're talking about horror movies. Instead of horror movies, talking about slasher TV series and everything. So that's a nice little thing they did. Instead of talking about horror movies, talking about slasher horror TV shows and stuff. So they started naming some stuff like The Walking Dead. So that was a nice little touch, you know what I'm saying? And then at some point in time, he is, okay, this is what the show likes to do that's really interesting with his character. The music that they have for this show is amazing. I love it. It's creepy and eerie. And so Noah, he's talking about the rules of like a horror slasher TV series. And as he's narrating, talking about like what happens, like, oh, you know, maybe you have like a girl in the house and she ends up dead. And then the next day the parents come and find her face down and blah, blah. As he's telling that, like what happens in shows and stuff, we actually get to see what happens to Nina when her parents show up and they see blood dripping everywhere, and then they find her face down in like the pool. So that's a nice visual. I like how they do that with the show, and especially with his character with the music playing in the background. So at some point we see Emma trying to talk to Aubrey and trying to befriend her, and Aubrey's just kind of like weirded out, kind of like, why do you want to hang out with me and everything? But she invites her to a party that one of the kids is having. I forgot which kid, but it's one of the kids. Let's get into Brooke. Brooke is a friend of Emma's. Brooke is revealed she's dating her teacher and everything. He constantly asks her to come over at night and grade papers. In a way, when he tries to call it off and everything, she's going to be a little vindictive about it and do some things that, of course, will happen in typical teen black male type drama. I hate when teenagers date their teachers and stuff. I'm sick and tired of seeing that in the teen drama stuff. And so, yeah, she's basically like a little vixen, but she's a sweetheart of a girl. But she also has a boyfriend, like I told you before, Jake. So she's constantly cheating on him. And it's just, she's the spoiled brat, little rich girl who has daddy issues. He doesn't pay attention to her. And her daddy likes to scam on teenage girls. So she gets mad about that, but she can't get too mad about that because she's messing around with older men and stuff. And so, like, she's one of those characters. I don't really know who she's based off in the movies because it's kind of like, you know who's Emma's based off of, you know who Nova's based off of, you know who the killer is based off of. Aubrey is kind of a Tatum character, but then also Brooke is kind of a Tatum character slightly. And she's also the character that Sydney befriends in college. So she's like the best friend who's nice but has some problems. So it's kind of like a mashup, you know what I'm saying? So then at some point in time, Noah is hanging out with the other group of friends, or hanging out with what did I say, Raleigh and everything. And so she's talking more about, oh, so tell me more about your like slasher killer, serial killer people. She's interested in that. So he tells her about the whole Brandon James murders. And this is pivotal because it plays a huge role in the first two seasons. Mainly in the first one. The problem is, like I said, it's a slow burn, and they left off on a cliffhanger. In the second season, they said they were going to resolve it in a TV movie. They never did. The TV movie was something completely different. So then, when it comes to the first two seasons and this cast, it basically got canceled and rebooted into a new cast in the third season, and then got canceled. Now, there's a rumor it might come back because if Scream 5 does well at the box office, so they said they'll bring back the original cast, so who knows, you know. So he tells the story of Brandon James. Brandon James was a teenage boy. He went to school there in Lakewood. He had that facial disorder that makes you face all distorted, basically the elephant man syndrome type thing. And so he wore like a prosthetic face mask. The only person who was nice to him was his older brother. The family, his parents didn't want nothing to do with him because of the way he looked. So he was an outcast. He liked a girl named Emily in school. He takes off his mask at like a dance type thing. She freaks out. Some of the school boys beat the snot out of him. He becomes obsessed with her. And so he carves like a heart locket out of wood for her. And she agrees to meet him over by the lake and everything, the dock. And so when he's there to talk to her, he's wearing like a black hoodie. And so like, next thing you know, he is shot by the cops automatically. They don't say a word. They just straight up shoot him and everything. So he dies. And this is the look of the killer, the slasher, the ghost face and stuff. So let's get into that. The new ghost face. Its face is distorted to look like that of Elephant Man syndrome from that of Brandon James. It takes a while to get used to. I remember when I first saw the mask, I'm just like, why does it look like that for? But you get used to it, and it's kind of cool. It is similar to the original Ghostface mask, but nothing's iconic as the Ghostface mask. Now, the costume, once again, it's a black cloak. However, this one is just a cheap rain jacket. Ugh. They use the same buck knife and everything, and it's a different voice actor for the slasher. But he sounds very similar to that of Roger Jackson. Now, Roger Jackson does reappear in the third season, and they use the iconic Ghostface costume because they got the rights back and stuff. So we see like Emma, and there's a package named Emily on her front porch. She gives it to the mom. It's all like, oh, somebody left this at our house, but who's Emily? And the mom's all like, oh, maybe it's somebody like, um, from like, like they got the house mixed up, something like that. Well, it turns out that when her mom goes in the cupboard, well, this happened actually when her mom goes in the cupboard, she takes out a heart locket with the name Emily on it. This happens earlier in the episode. So it turns out her mom, whose name is Margaret, changed her name. Well, her name used to be Emily. She was the girl in the story that Noah told. Now, flash forward a couple of scenes later. Now we get to the box. She opens the box, and there's a heart inside, but it's not a human heart. It's like a pig heart or something like that. So she calls the sheriff, and him and her have been friends since like growing up. And so they're also dating and stuff. Now, the sheriff, his name is Clark. And he actually confronts Noah towards the end of the series because he knows Noah is like obsessed with like horror movies and stuff. So they're trying to like pin it on him because they think he's like the killer. But he's all nonchalant about it and everything, 'cause he knows he's innocent and stuff. Now, Clark's son goes to that school. His name is Kieran. Kieran is just a guy in like the school, and he befriends like the group of friends, and he likes Emma, so they kind of like talk a lot, even though she's dating that jerk dude and stuff. Now, Emma's actual boyfriend, Will, when Brooke was in her garage, she was walking around, she hears something. Next thing you know, Will shows up and he threatens her and stuff, talking about, you ever try to get between me and Emma again, I will end you. And so then we don't know what exactly he means by that, but it just like ends like with them. So they're trying to set him up as kind of like this red herring type killer type person. So could he be the killer? Could he not? Could Noah? It's one of those things where everybody's a suspect type thing. So all the kids, they go to the party, and this house party is nothing like the one from the Scream movie. Is very dull, is very boring. You get Noah talking more about slasher stuff, and it's just not as fun as it was in like, the movie and stuff. At some point in time in the episode, we get Emma confessing to Aubrey that she was the one who recorded the thing. Aubrey is not happy at all. She is furious. She is pissed off at Emma. As Emma is walking home, all of a sudden she gets a call on the cell phone, and it's somebody talking about, hello, Emma. So of course it's Slasher Ghostface dude, and he talks to her for a little bit, and then it ends. And I'm just thinking to myself, you gotta be kidding me. Like, there was only two kills in this like pilot episode. One happened off screen. One happened on screen. There wasn't that much blood. The Ghostface killer texts the entire like first scene and didn't say a word. Then the Ghostface killer doesn't appear until the very end of the episode, talking about, hello, Emma. And I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, this is supposed to be Scream. Like, you're supposed to see this dude popping around all around and everything. But it was such a slow burn episode. It was basically just to set up our characters, which is fine because you have to get to know your characters. But my God, at least throw in some Ghostface here and there and everything and stuff. I mean, it was a nice setup because you have to get to know your characters and stuff. But it was just a slow burn dull of an episode. And Ghostface isn't even that interesting when he does appear and stuff. And so it was a little bit of a fizzle for a pilot episode, in my opinion. And the entire series is actually kind of like that. There's barely any kills. When it does, it's not one of the main characters. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.